Hello and welcome. Today I'm just going to show you how I make a couple of rigs for my pole fishing. They're both going to be for chop worm, so they're both going to be weight down. So what I want to do is get the bait to the fish quickly, try and keep it through the smaller stuff and get it to where I want it to be. This little device here is something I just knocked up. It makes it so much easier. Substantial bit of wood. Little tiny thing in the top there to hold your line, I'll show you how that goes, and a couple of nails. Makes it so much easier because you can keep everything tight while you're doing it. So what we'll do, I'll take this out. As I say, it's really just a knock up. It's no great engineering feat. And then what we do is we put the spool of line like so, and then you can tighten it down to whatever you think you need it to be. We'll just tighten it so that it gives line but under a little bit of pressure. That's it. This is 016, which is roughly £5. This is going to be the main line. The float we're going to use is a body up rugby ball style, and that's a 0.5 of a gram. I'll just snip the rubbers off. Bit of static there, I think. And these little silicone rubbers, you can buy the silicone, all different shapes and sizes, different colours. The idea is they just keep the line nice and tight to the float body, which is what you want so that you don't get any wind knots, etc. I'm just going to change my glasses. Right, we get our line, find the end. Before we put the float on, we always put the rubbers on. So what I'll do is I'll put the float like so, the top rubber being the larger one of the ones because it's got to go over the tip. We slip that onto the line, make sure it's on the line, yep. Then the two smaller silicone ones, and I always find that it's easier to see on a black background. So what I do is I'll just use my pliers, make sure it's on, yep. One more to go. Joys of getting old, folks. Your eyes are just not what they used to be. If you find that, what I do is I put the silicone down and follow it through the line on the dark like so, just to hold it still. Of course the pliers don't want to stay still. There, we're in. That's got it. Right, so there's your silicone on. Then what we do is we get the float. That's one of those. There, just push it on so it's on. Don't need to push it all the way at the moment. Okay. Then we put the tip one on, like so. Put a bit of line through just to make sure we're there. Take the first one you put on the stem up to the very top. The bottom one, you just want it at the bottom. It doesn't need to be exact, but the top one wants to go right down as far as it will. And there we have our float all attached. Very durable float, this one as well. Very good for, you know, chop worm fishing where you're probably going to catch some reasonably decent fish. Right, and then what we're going to use as an initial sort of bulk shot, it's a little 0.4 Olivet. The idea of this is, because we're using chop worm, and we will be moving the bait about quite a bit, with an Olivet, get me dark background again, with an Olivet you can actually move it about without the fear of getting snags, because you can find that with shot, that's a waste of time, you can find with shot that you will get some snags where as you're jigging the bait up and down, the line will collide with the little split shot, and it can cause you all sorts of jip. Please feel free to put in the comments that I'm as blind as a bat. Do it the easy way. Get the silicone out. Put it direct. That's it. Through you go. Right, there's the Olivet, and when you put your ollie on, make sure you've got it tapered so that it's tapered weight side first. So it's sort of like a torpedo shape. And the idea is that then, of course, this can run freely up and down the line, which is no problem. And then what we're going to do is we're going to tie the loop at the bottom, which will be for the hook. So that's just a basic loop that we tie, like so. And then before we actually tighten it, just pop it in water, wet it so that it doesn't actually burn the line when you pull it together. And then with your pair of pliers, just put it over the jaw of the plier, make sure it's tight, nip off the excess, or excess should I say. There's your loop. To tighten the loop, all you do, just put it over one of the nails if you feel that need, and just pull on it, that's that nice and tight. Right, and then leaving it on the nail, just to make it easier for us. What we do then, is we get, I use these little things, they're called stots, they're sort of a cross between a split shot and the old style styles. They're very good, especially for someone like me with poor eyesight, because they actually got a little channel through them, and they're very easy to put on, because all I do is I put them so that the channel is down facing, and I get my little pliers, just come to the side to show you, and I pick up the stop like so, and you can actually see the channel, and then by holding the line, all I do is I bring stop and line together. Let's get another one to show you. So we collect the line like so. Very difficult to see where the line is, so I'll do the old trick again on the dark background. Then, as you can see, the stop is now on the line. Still movable because they're only very light lead. We know our hook link's there, so we'll bring that down to about 4 inches from the hook link. And then we'll just tighten it a little bit more to make sure that it's in position with the little pliers. They're great little pliers. That's it. And now, when our float is out, you'll find that the main bolt of the lead will move up and down, which is good, to the stop. And then we want to know the depth that we want our rig to be. So I'm going to be fishing swims of about 5 feet. So what I do is I'll pull this out, that will just keep going round. I'll take that out so I've got the 5 feet that I want, like so. Put that down. And then with my snippers, snip off like so. And again, what we do is we do a big overhand loop, this is for fitting to the end of the pole. And what I do, because I don't use ston flows, I don't like the idea of tying knots in rubber. That always seems to me to be a bit of a disaster waiting to happen. Right, just tighten that up on my nail, like so. What I do is I put a secondary loop in. The idea of this is when I put it over my pole attachment, I'll show you one in a minute, show you what I mean. At the end of the day, instead of fiddling and fighting to try and get it to come off where it's been tightened up, where you've hooked some decent fish, hopefully, all you do is you pull on the little secondary loop and it lets it go. So there we have our rig. We've pulled the float up to about what we expect the depth of the water to be. The end of the tackle is basically just the Olivet with the one shot, so that it'll get down quickly and hopefully catch us some nice perch and roach and whatever else is about when you're fishing the worm, and then we slip it onto a pole winder. Like so. Let the Olivet go that way. Job done, one custom made rig to your specifications rather than buy one that you have to make do and mend. Took no time at all. And if